Hello and welcome to Yes, You Are Brave. This is a podcast where we are going to set off on a journey together to find and build our brave, where we explore all the ways that you have been brave and all the ways that you can be brave again. Because even though we may have forgotten or we may have fallen out of practice, we're all brave. And I'm on a mission to prove it and help you believe that yes, you are brave. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Yes, You Are Brave. I'm Pawnee, I'm your host. Super excited that you are here. Let's talk brave, shall we? Let's just jump right in. All right, so last week in the podcast, we talked about some things to help you enjoy your family gatherings or survive your family gatherings for the holidays leading up to, that was leading up to Thanksgiving. I'm sure there will be plenty of other ones in Christmas time, all of that stuff. But one of the things that I mentioned and has kind of been on my mind and I wanted to talk a bit more about, to dive more into, was I talked about last week setting realistic expectations for your family gatherings and what they realistically have the potential to be and what they realistically do not. And so I wanted to kind of explore and talk a little bit more about expectations this week, and maybe being brave enough to let go of some of those expectations. And we're going to talk about a couple of different areas of those. So let's jump right in, okay? So lately, I don't know if you know this, I have been a little hit and miss, and I have been a little bit hiding what I'm doing in life. But I'm writing a book about helping people who are single own their worth and step into their power by making peace with their relationship status. And part of that is examining the expectations that are part of your life, or that you're trying to live up to, and whose are they, and are they actually something you want? And so I kind of have been thinking about this a lot lately. And then it just kind of seems like the next thing to talk about this. So I want to talk about, first of all, maybe kind of specifically, like it is the holiday season, right? This is dropping the last week of November. And so we're in the middle of the holidays, and we're in the middle of lots of get-togethers and lots of things that have, it's supposed to be this way, right? And so I want to talk specifically about dropping the expectations, letting go of those expectations for the holidays, right? I think one of the worst things we can do for ourselves is have these crazy expectations about how amazing and wonderful and perfect that something is going to be. Because how often do we have that expectation or that hope, and then it doesn't happen, and guess what? We're disappointed. And we're then upset that it didn't turn out the way that we wanted. And we know this. We know that it doesn't turn out that way. We know that it doesn't. We know that it's hard to get that picture, but yet we keep insisting on it being a certain way, and we keep being disappointed. So first of all, I want to challenge you to be brave enough to drop your expectations of a perfect holiday. There is no such thing. There is not. There are actually quite a few Christmas movies about this where, somebody is reaching for the perfect holiday. They want it to be a certain way, and it never is. And, there's a whole hero's journey. There's a whole story arc there. And I would encourage you to not worry so much about that. Stop worrying about it being the perfect holiday. Drop the expectations and just see where it goes. Yes, you can have a plan, but it's never gonna work out exactly how you want, no matter how much you stress about it. So maybe it's time to drop the stress and just enjoy the holiday. Along with those dropping expectations of the holidays, if there are a bunch of things that you do during the holidays that you don't like, don't do them. You're an adult. You do not have to carry on traditions that you don't like, that don't mean anything to you. Okay? You don't have to make all of the treats or I don't know. I've gotten to a point where I don't really do things at the holidays that I don't want to, but do what makes you happy during the holidays. As long as it's not damaging to you or other people or property, really, there's no reason you shouldn't do it. If you would really just like to not decorate or not go anywhere, don't. Drop the expectation of a perfect holiday and what it looks like, and just let the holidays come and just Make a conscious decision to enjoy them. So that is one thing that I wanted to talk about, dropping expectations for the holidays. You don't have to, all the other things, you don't have to do a million things for the holidays. Everybody's like, oh, it's so busy and it's so this and it's so that. Well, it doesn't have to be that busy. Okay. Maybe you do have children and maybe there's like a 1,600 concerts and stuff like that, but it doesn't have to be go, go, go all the time. Take some time and enjoy it. Drop the expectation that you have to be going all the time and have to be doing all the things, and just enjoy them at least part of the time. The next thing that I wanted to talk about, and maybe this is more for me than it is for everybody else, but I want to talk about dropping the expectations or letting go of the expectations about your family, about a perfect family or perfect relationships or anything like that. Because I think a lot of times we're disappointed in those as well. And I have been I'm totally guilty of this. I really am. Like, I have these expectations. I have these things that I want from my family. I have this way that I want my family to work, and I want the relationships in my family to be. And guess what? They're not. And I cannot tell you how many times I have been disappointed or been upset about it because it just doesn't work out that way. So, because they're not. And sometimes I think we have this picture in our head of what our family is, or maybe it's what our family was. But as we grow and as we change, and we are always growing and always changing, regardless of whether or not you think you are, everybody is growing, everybody is changing. And if you're not growing or not changing, then maybe that's part of the problem as well. So everything is always changing. And our family dynamic is also one of those things that is always changing. And so I think that being able to let go of the expectation of my family is this way. My family does this. My family relationships look like this. It can be very, very helpful. And I will say that I have not completely mastered this yet. I am trying. I'm working on letting go of those expectations of what I want my family to be like and what I want the relationships with my family to be. I'm working on dropping those expectations, but the ones that I have been able to drop, I will tell you that it has made a huge difference. And also allowing myself to let go of the anger when those are not the way that I want them to be. That is also a fantastic thing to do. So in your family, no family is going to be perfect. No relationship is going to be perfect. So you've got to learn to let that go. Okay, maybe your grandma is never going to compliment your hair. Maybe your brother is never going to understand the thing that sets your heart on fire, and that's okay. But let's drop the expectations of what we think our family should be and maybe just learn to love our family for what they are. Again, this is me. I have not mastered this, but I am in the middle of trying to figure it out. If I get any more information or figure out how to make that happen, I will let you know. So that is the second area I wanted to talk a little bit about. And the third area, this just kind of gets more broad. I want you to be brave enough to maybe let go of some of the expectations that you have for your life in general. And I realize that can be difficult. And I'm not talking about dropping your dreams or your goals or those things that you're working for. But are there expectations that you have for yourself and your life that holding on to them is causing you some pain and causing you some or more than a little bit of discomfort and more than a little bit of struggle? Now, I know that I had this picture for my life when I was younger, and my life looks nothing like that. My life looks absolutely positively nothing like the picture that I had for it when I was younger. And it has caused a lot of problems through the years that my life didn't look how I wanted it to. And yeah, that was in the vein of being honest. Yeah, I thought by this point in my life, I would be married. I would have a family. I would have all of these things. Guess what? My life looks nothing like that. And I was really upset and I was really struggled with that for a very long time until I did actually make peace with the fact that I'm single, and I may be single for a long time, maybe even forever. But I had to really examine the expectations that I had for my life. And you are going to need to do this from time to time. We all have a picture of what we think our life should be. And disappointment really comes from when our expectations, when reality and expectations don't line up, right? With the expectation that we have of something does not match the reality. That's where the disappointment comes in. If we can realize that reality is very often just not going to meet our expectations, or that maybe we just learn to enjoy things as they come, then we are going to be a lot happier in our lives. And like I said, I get what it's like to have this idea, this picture for your life, and it doesn't turn out that way. But it does not mean that your life can't still be amazing. It doesn't mean that you can't still have awesome experiences and can't be just living your best life. Your best life doesn't necessarily mean living the picture that you had in your head. Living your best life means going out and doing all of the things that doing things that make you happy and finding your joy in all of the things. And being okay with having to shift that story or having to adjust. Being flexible is one of the best skills you can teach yourself or you can learn. And that also includes with the expectations that you have of your life, because once you learn to let go of those expectations of what it should be, then you get to enjoy what it is. Holding on to expectations, holding on to that perfect picture, it really just robs you of the joy that is here and now, because it's not exactly what you thought it could be or should be. So that's what I wanted to talk about in different areas of being brave enough to let go of those expectations, because sometimes, actually I would say more often than not, reality and expectation do not go together. They just don't. They don't match up, and then we end up being really disappointed. The other thing that I wanted to talk about with expectations is I want you to ask the question of whose expectations are these? Sometimes we're really struggling with this. Oh, we expected it to be a certain way, or we're not living up to expectations. Well, whose expectations are we not living up to? I mean, think about that for a moment. You feel like you're a disappointment. You feel like your life isn't going the way you expected. Whose expectations are you trying to live up to right now? This goes for all of those areas that I talked about. Whose expectations are you trying to live up to for this particular holiday? Is it the expectation that you have of the holiday? Is it actually what you want, or is it somebody else's expectation of what a perfect holiday should look like? Is the family dynamic that you're working with or that you feel like is not enough, is that because you don't feel like it's enough, or because you feel like it's not living up to somebody else's expectation? Somebody else's picture of what a perfect family should look like. And spoiler alert, there's no such thing as a perfect family. There isn't. And the perfect family picture occasionally happens if your kids are old enough to bribe them. But there is no perfect picture. There is no perfect family. Also, your expectations for your life. You feel like you're not living up to the expectation. You're failing in life because what? Are you whose expectations are you trying to live up to? And maybe if those expectations are not your own, they're not what you want, then we need to be brave enough to let them go. So something to think about as we're headed into the rest of the holiday season. And then following that, right? Following this end of the year, we get to start a brand new shiny year. And I want you to think about what are the expectations that you have for the year, and maybe letting go of some of those expectations. Make a plan. Don't expect things to be one way or the other. Just make a plan and learn how to enjoy life for what it is and not what you think it should be. Because that is where you're going to find the most joy, is when you learn how to live in the moment for what it is and not just compare it to what you thought it should be. Some words to think about. Hope you have a fantastic holiday season. I hope you are finding joy and finding love and finding ways to strengthen the relationships in your family, even if it's not going the way that you would like it to. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's a bit of a struggle. And also, I want you to be able to look at your life and be happy and satisfied with your life, even if it's not what you thought it was going to be. Let's be brave. Let's drop those expectations and just enjoy life for what it is. and you can still drop the expectations of perfection and expectations of all of these crazy things and still really enjoy life and still have goals, still have things you're working towards, but learn to enjoy things for what they are and not what you think that they should be. So that is my challenge for you this week, is to drop the expectations for a perfect holiday, a perfect family, and a perfect life, and just enjoy the holidays as they come. Love your family for who they are and for who they are and what they are. And then let your life be what you want it to be, not what other people think it should be. And learn to enjoy your life for what it is and not what it could have been. Okay? You're awesome. You're wonderful. You're amazing. You deserve to let go of those expectations and start living your best life. I love you. I'm rooting for you. You have a fantastic day because you are worth it.
Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed what you've heard today, please leave a review down below and share this with anyone that you feel like could use a little more brave in their life. And if you'd like to follow more of my journey to be brave, you can follow me on social media and link down below. Have a fantastic day and don't forget to be brave.